What's up guys, it's your boy Serge. So today we're going to talk about the new Dell XPS 15-inch. This thing is sweet. It's got one of the best builds I have ever seen. You got the carbon fiber finish slapped on with two metal pieces. It's also got some killer specs. I got the 1TB SSD in there, 16 gig RAM, the Core i7 with quad core performance. This thing is killer. Now the question is, can you game on the Dell XPS 15? The answer is yes, but be sure to pick up the dedicated 960M graphics, because without that, you're not going to be doing a whole lot of gaming. I've done a lot of integrated graphics videos that demonstrated how well integrated graphics works on many different laptops, and it's pretty good, but it can only go so far. So if you do have the money, opt for the dedicated graphics solution. That means it can play all your favorite video games. It can play them on medium to high graphics, mostly high, run really well. I noticed on some games they just don't boot up right. But again, this is mostly due to game optimization, and some games are just not coded to run on mobile GPUs. Let's take a look at some of this performance. So what can I tell you about the League of Legends performance? Well, it actually runs pretty good. You can play the game in 4K, you can play the game in 1080p, it's really just up to you. You won't need to worry about League of Legends on the Dell XPS 15-inch. Now, when it comes to playing Counter-Strike, it's kind of a different story. You can do 4K gaming, but it's somewhat laggy. It does freeze up. You do drop sometimes to 25. You kind of hover around the 30s and sometimes 40s. But realistically, the best way to game with Counter-Strike Source on the Dell XPS is going to be on 1080p gaming. You can have the anisotropic, you can have the AA. Just keep the resolution at 1080p and you should be golden. Fallout 4 happens to be one of those titles that is just more demanding. It's got more detail, it's got more physics, it just has a lot more going on in that game. Some games are also just programmed better to run on specific hardware. Now, we do know the 960M, it's a pretty mainstream GPU, so I did expect it to run a little bit better. I'm not too certain why it didn't run as good as I thought it would. 1080p gaming on Fallout 4 is sometimes choppy, to say the least. You are going to be getting around 30, 40, sometimes 50 FPS on mostly high graphics. And if you drop it down to medium, you should be able to enjoy the game with no issues. Yes, Dota, another one of my favorites. Now this game, it is more graphically intensive than League of Legends, and because of that, 4K gaming is a lot more difficult. I did expect to be able to run 4K gaming on this laptop with Dota, but it seems like it can't really handle it. You're going to be dropping below 30 most of the time, unless you're willing to put your textures down from ultra and high down to medium. 4K gaming really isn't possible. Again, 1080p gaming should be good enough for most people though. Grand Theft Auto, one of the highest production games out there today. Now, this game is big. It's so popular. The question is, can you run it on this one? Of course you can. Well, the makers at Rockstar and the people who designed this game have really optimized it to run even on integrated graphics. So you can play this game at 1080p with pretty high to medium graphics. Take a look here and see how I've optimized the graphical settings. Turn Ambient Occlusion off because it is a frame killer in this instance. It just makes the shadows look a lot more realistic, but keep it off for now.
What took you so long? Shut the fuck up and drive!
When it comes to indie titles, the 960M does not perform nearly as good. Can you play Rust? Yes, you can, but it does not run as good as I'd like it to. With 1080p gaming, you'll be fine on medium graphics. Sometimes you can up it even a little bit higher, but with 1080p gaming, don't expect a whole lot. You will freeze up every now and then. If you want to play without any glitchiness, you will have to drop everything down to low at 1080p. At 1440 by 768, you should be pretty good. Try lower resolution if you want to play the game with smoother FPS. So what are the most important factors to consider when getting a gaming laptop? Well, first thing you want to consider is the GPU. Does it have a dedicated GPU? Does it have a specific chip designed to do the gaming? If it doesn't, it probably means it has integrated graphics, and we call that an iGPU. If it has an iGPU, you gotta make sure it has at least HD 6000 or Iris 540. Because if it doesn't, you're looking at really poor gaming performance. Now, in this particular model here, because I opted for the upgraded graphics, I do have the 960M, so it will perform really, really well. After you've picked a system with a good GPU, you want to next pick the RAM. The RAM is important because if you don't have a lot of RAM, you're not going to be able to load the game into the computer. Think of the RAM as kind of like a hard drive, but it takes the information from the drive and puts it in a temporary storage location. From there, it can be accessed. So you need to get as much RAM as possible. Never cheap out on the RAM, but most of all, don't forget the GPU is also important. Everything else can be second best. If you have a lot of money, you can always get a good SSD drive. You can always up your hard drive space. You can even get bigger models of the same laptop with bigger screens. It's all going to add up costs, but always go with the GPU first and then upgrade the RAM, and then after that the CPU. Now, why did I say to upgrade the CPU last? Well, realistically, the CPUs are already really, really fast, so you don't really need to upgrade them. The reason this laptop is unique is because it's thin and it has a dedicated GPU. You really don't see that too often. The Razer company has released a number of awesome gaming laptops that look kind of like the MacBook Pro, but are with the Razer accents. They look dark, they got that green accents, they look amazing, and they work really well. Be sure to check out Razer's products as well. The thing about the MacBooks is they're not really designed for gaming. That's why they don't have a dedicated GPU, but there's a lot of other good alternatives out there. For instance, like what Dell has to offer. Well, I gotta tell you, I really do like the Dell XPS a lot. It's powerful enough to do everything I need it to do. That GPU really does allow it to perform well. If it wasn't for that, you couldn't really do the gaming. I want to thank you guys for watching. And if you like this video, I highly encourage you to subscribe because you're exactly the type of person I would like to connect with. Help me make my next big video. Let me know in the comment section below what kind of product you want me to review next. Is there a specific laptop that I haven't talked about on this channel yet? Maybe you have some ideas on how I can improve the channel or this video. Be sure to leave a comment down below because I do read all of them and I do reply to all your guys' comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. If you're trying to pick out your next laptop, don't hesitate to leave a comment below if you do have questions about this particular laptop. I will be holding on to this device for quite some time, so I'll be able to give you in-depth knowledge about the device. Not a lot of YouTubers can say that. A lot of times they get a review unit and then they just send it out in 1 week. I'm going to be holding on to this one for a while, so leave a comment below. What are your general thoughts about this laptop? Do you think that it does a good job? Do you want to see something else about it? What are some other laptops that you found that were really well built? I'm trying to find other laptops I can review that are ultrabook type class but also have gaming abilities. That's actually why I picked the Dell XPS, because it does have those two qualities, which makes it very unique. Heat-wise, we don't see anything special going on. What I can tell you though is the carbon fiber finish has a type of rubberized plastic on top of it that does not conduct heat very well. So in other words, you can hardly actually feel the heat on this laptop. In general, all laptops get hot, so that's actually pretty normal. Let's build a better channel together.